Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Carmichael. I'm from the Seattle, Washington, United States area, the northwest corner, and I'll be your expert today. So we are kicking off with partner passing and my right-hand opponent opening a week two. Now, lots of people have different ideas about what it takes to bid over week twos. I tend to personally fall in the camp of being fairly conservative when it comes to acting over preempts here. Even if partner had not been a passed hand, I would not be inclined to bid on this hand at all. So, partner being a passed hand, I think makes it even worse. So for sure, this is a clear pass to me. There are probably people out there who would think that this is a 3-club bid, but not me. So 2-no was some sort of asking bid. No, it's just forcing. And 3-no is 3-no. All right. I'm actually glad that they converted back. I was feeling a little bit bad that I hadn't bid. That partner didn't know to lead clubs, but at least now we're on opening lead. I don't actually have a bid. I didn't actually feel bad. I just kind of, wish that if they were about to play 3-0, the partner knew that I wanted a club lead. But so declare looks like they have a lot of tricks. We maybe had some hearts we could have cashed off the bat here, but yes, declare just led the 4 spades to draw partners 3. Um, gratuitous show of power there. So I think declare is just playing their trumps just in the hopes that if somebody had a diamond guard, that maybe they'll be squeezed. Maybe they'll have to give it up. But we can see from our own diamond holding that all the diamonds are good. So we might as well throw them away. You know, it's not going to happen. But, realistically, our only theoretical chance here is that what if declare doesn't have any diamonds at all? It's not going to happen. But we're just going to go ahead and see maybe if they'll be inclined to claim some number of tricks here. I think if I've counted correctly here, we're probably getting one, but I may have missed one of the cards. I think they still have trump, but yep. Okay. So if we found the heart lead, we can take the first 3, but leading the king of clubs from king, queen, jack seems perfectly normal. Just one of those things. If you found a heart from ace third, more power to you. Okay. So our turn. So we have a 6-4 hand. We are vulnerable versus not. And our long suit is clubs, which is always the worst one when considering what preempting type of actions we may want to do. Since we don't have a 2-club preempt available, we would have to bid at least 3 clubs. Definitely reduces our options on this hand. If we had another suit, for sure, it would be very clear to open a week 2 on this hand. But here we have to decide whether or not our hand is worth a 3 bid or not. And as I mentioned in previous videos, I tend to be fairly aggressive when it comes to my own preempting decisions, even though I just said I'm fairly conservative when it comes to bidding over my opponents. Having said that, this is about as bad a situation as it gets. We're second seed, which is the time you tend to want to be the most sound because there's a good chance that partner is the one with values. So taking a preemptive action, the downside of preempts is when you're preempting your partner, whereas the upside is when you're preempting the opponents. But I've already had one opponent pass. So now instead of having 2 opponents that I'm trying to get past with opening hands versus 1 partner, now I'm more or less with 1 opponent and 1 partner. So it makes the odds much, much worse. So second seat definitely is a time to be conservative, and vulnerable versus not is a time to be conservative. So putting all that together, I am not going to open 3 clubs on this hand. Like if my honor structure was different, like if I had the king jack 10 of clubs, and the queen jack fourth of diamonds, like basically swapping my honor structure in the minors, I'd be far more inclined to open three clubs. But this hand, my clubs are weak, my diamonds are strong but broken. It's a side suit, and red on white second seat. Just not a good time. So we're going to just pass and see what happens. All right. So in standard, this should be a pretty reasonable hand, and it looks like the robot is aware of that. That a fourth seat two bid. I don't know. Well, it didn't go into tons of detail about how it plays. To me, a fourth seat two bid not only shows opening strength values, but also shows not just six in the suit, but a strong suit, like a suit that you very much think should be trumps. So given that, the 10 of hearts feels like it should be plenty of strength for hearts to be the best place to play. So I have no reason to be bidding here. I'm going to pass. And this is the type of suit I was mentioning. Say hello to my cat. This is Spice. She is really feeling very jealous of my laptop right now. It's taking up, her space. She has something to say about that. So back to the hand, this is the type of suit I'm talking about, where this is a very strong, high quality suit that even if you don't catch partner with a fit for you, it's not so bad. You have a very strong playing strength suit in addition to your opening strength. So, I tend to be a little bit better than this for my two hard openings, but their range was 9 to 13. My tends to be more like 11 to 14, 11 to 15, something like that. So, for me, I don't know personally if I would have opened this two hearts playing with my favorite partner, but given the robot's methods, it certainly makes a lot of sense. We'll go ahead and see what happens here. So I'm inclined to take this finesse. If it wins and I can somehow manage to draw trumps, I might be in a very, very strong position. The other aspect of taking the finesse here is that if I win it on the board, I don't have a way of doing what I just said. I have to somehow get back to my hand to try and draw the trumps. So even though it's sort of cannibalizing the 10 of hearts, I think that the best play here is the jack. If it wins, then we would be in hand. It didn't, so we did in fact risk. We have taken a risk that, if hearts are 5-1, we may have developed an extra loser. And there were certainly some other possibilities we could have done. We could have tried playing hearts from the top, but this is not going well for us here at this point. And they're taking their club rough to boot. Well, I certainly could have done better in the play. It wasn't going to be fantastic on this layout no matter what, since the heart queen doesn't drop. That's realistically the other thing I could try to do was to, let me bring up the hand for a second here. So, the other thing I could possibly have done is when a heart came back, I could have tried to play the ace king of hearts and, then decide what I want to do. Maybe play a club and hope to get a discard away, but none of that was working. The queen of hearts doesn't drop. The second round of clubs gets roughed. In the end, they can just take all these tricks and I can't really stop them. Our cards just really didn't mesh very well. So not a good result. Definitely, the robots defended the hand well. There wasn't a lot we can do on that particular layout. Okay. So pretty comfortable one hard opening here. But nothing special. So clearly not acting in this auction. Well, that's a very strange sequence chosen by the robots here. So the reason I say it's strange is because It's rare for East to want to have a hand where there is no bid that they could have made over two hearts, but now all of a sudden they think that they have game. It's not anything that we're going to do about. We don't really have a bid here. We're not going to be trying five hearts as a sacrifice or something like that. I have a relatively low level of confidence that this is actually their best spot. So even if I was 100% convinced that four spades was great for them, five hearts seems like it just too easily go down too many. And given the fact that I'm not confident that four spades is their best spot, I'm for sure not acting. But it is worth noting that if you're playing with your favorite partner here, don't make auctions like this. If you want to support the first time, fine. If you don't have three spades, but you have some values, well, that's what double is here. It's called a responsive double, where you have some values, you have some spades, you don't have enough space to support, you're not sure what to do. Double to say, hey, partner, I want to get involved with this auction. But passing and then jumping to four spades, realistically, the only hand type you should have for that, and maybe they do, we'll see in a second, is a hand that you're hoping partner would balance back in with double of two hearts as opposed to two spades. That, you're hoping that if partner doubles, you're going to pass out the double of two hearts. If that's your hand, then I suppose this is reasonable, but it's called a trap pass. But outside of that, this seems a bit much. So let's presumably end this auction and see what happens. So East dummy here does in fact have some pretty reasonable heart holding. So, that aspect of things is true. I don't know that personally that they have enough that I would be wanting necessarily to trap out two hearts doubles, especially given the vulnerability. Our side is not vulnerable, their side is vulnerable, which means that if you're making two spades, which seems, very reasonable a high percentage of the time, you have to not only beat two hearts, but you have to beat it two. So, beating it only one is worth 100 as opposed to 110 for two spades making, or 140 or 170, yeah, whatever. So, I don't know that I would have taken the approach that East did, but at least they sort of have a semblance of what we were talking about. Now, the robots don't really play signals here, so I'm not going to worry about what spot cards I'm playing, but they do play third and fifth lead, so I know partner is three hearts, which I knew already anyway. But everybody should be well aware of what's going on in the heart suit given the auction. So this looks like they're trying to build an entry back to the dummy, but I'm not entirely sure to what end. I think it's just good practice to duck this and kind of take away some of their options. They play another spade, I can win it. Now, in terms of what to exit, all the suits have flaws. Like if I lead a high heart, since Declare had the jack, I'm setting up a finesse against myself with the 10-9. I'm leading clubs, I'm finessing myself, and I'm leading diamonds. That could just be blowing up the diamond suit. So for sure, I just want to win my trump and get out of trump, not break new suits and make things, easier for Declare. All right, so Declare is playing some more trumps at me. I don't know if they're going to run them all, but we'll see. So we have the spots to hold the club holding. I'm just going to play this just to hold the position, and I'm pretty sure Declare has the rest of the tricks. So we didn't set it, but, again, five hearts feels like it would be all kinds of disaster. Declare had a pretty reasonable hand. The opponents did well to get to game. I don't like the way they got to game, but they did well to get to game. All right. So here we have a pretty reasonable 10 count. Given our own luxury of time, we would have chosen to make a limit raise on this hand. However, our East has taken away that option from us. So by bidding 3 spades, we have essentially 2 options. We can defend or we can bid. Our spades are long, and we do have a trick, a pretty slow one, but I don't think that we're ever going to be taking enough tricks undoubled. And the fact that we have so many spades means partners short. I think overwhelmingly, it seems very likely that bidding game rates to make. So we're going to bid 4 hearts, even though we only would have invited, you know, had we had the luxury of time, but we don't. So here we are. Partner has a very strong hand. I'm a little surprised they didn't take another action. Like, if I were holding this hand, having only opened a heart, and I heard my partner bid game in that situation, I probably would have come back with 4 spades, just to try to, gauge partner's interest in slam. Partner's under a lot of pressure, so 4 hearts could be such a wide variety of hands that, it's definitely not a sure thing that 5 hearts is going to make all the time, but it seems a very likely thing that you have 5 level safety. And I think it's also a reasonably likely thing that slam is at least going to be decent a high percentage of the time, not all the time, but enough that I think that passing was short-sighted. So unfortunately, we missed an excellent slam here, and probably even a grand. But our best bet for not making grand is that trumps go 4-0. Even if hearts is 3-1, we only have one rough we need to do on the board, most likely. So there is some chance that perhaps our 5th diamond won't be good. It's not a very good chance, but nope. Okay. So we're going to be able to discard dummy's club and rough a club on the board. I'm not going to play it out. I'm just going to play him here. But yeah, partner took a very low road. They definitely could have done more than just accepting 4 hearts and just passing. They have a lot more than they promised when they opened the bidding a heart. And it seems like you should at least give partner a chance to express whether they like their hand for slam or not. Had they actually bid 4 spades, let me bring up the hand again for a second here. So had they bid 4 spades just as a control bid, with my hand, I would have very much liked my hand for slam, even though I am pretty minimal in high cards. The fact that I have almost nothing wasted in spades is so good, right? I have a card in the club suit, I have a card in the diamond suit, and I have queen 4th of trumps as a fine holding. So, putting that all together, I would have absolutely been cooperating with the south hand. And once that happens, we would easily get to slam. 7 is tough. 7 is a good contract, but hands with voids are always hard, just because it's hard to when Blackwood is gone, you don't have as many options. If North could take a high road and try to do something like, if the robot plays at something like 5 spades exclusion, but I don't think that their hand is strong enough to necessarily force to slam like that. So there's just not a good auction where everything is going to be comfortable. I'm not saying it's impossible. It could go something like 4 spades, 5 clubs by me, say, 5 diamonds, 6 diamonds, or something like that, where I got to show both my ace of clubs and my king of diamonds. Then maybe partner can work out to bid 7. But unfortunately, we didn't even get to 6. So that rates to be a pretty bad board for us. Okay, onto this hand. We have a balanced 16 count with 5-4 in the minors, or some semi-balanced, some people refer to this as. This is the type of hand where in the modern game, pretty much no expert is going to consider actions outside of one no trump. Even though you don't have hard stops in your 2-2 distribution, this hand is minor oriented. One, that's a good reason to look for no trumps. Two, it's very quacky. We have lots of queens and jacks, which tends to be good for no trumps as well. And three, if we do something like open a diamond, we just have no comfortable rebids. We have no real way of ever catching up and showing our strength. Our hand is not good enough to make a strong jump shift, and yet it's really too strong for a 2-club rebid. So putting all that together, we're going to open one no. And the robots led our weakest suit. Thankfully, partner has a little bit of strength for us. They're actually kind of filling in some of our gaps quite nicely. We have our heart stopper. We have some reasonably strong diamonds. So see where things go from here. As the robots, for whatever reason, chooses not to clear hearts, maybe we'll have, they give us the luxury of time. They don't. They did, maybe we could work on trying to set up some slow club tricks. As it is, that's probably not going to happen. One thing I will say is we're playing the diamond suit. We have the 10 of diamonds. So just in case there was jack fourth in the east hand, we wanted to play a diamond to the ace and then a diamond back to the queen, so that when we see the 4-1 break, we're in the position to take that finesse. So that's why it was clear to lead back to the ace first. So now we're going to go back to dummy. The robot threw the jack away because they could. So there's one heart discard. So there's still one heart lurking out there. So it doesn't really cost us to try to play a club here, given that there's only one heart left in the deck. If they end up cashing it, we can throw a club from one hand and we still have the same number of tricks we had before. So I'm going to go ahead and try and play a club. I don't expect it to work, but it's safe since we saw a heart discard. As you can see here, it may have looked like we're in a little bit of dangerous situation, but there's only black cards left in the deck here. So when I lead a club, they can take their club, but whatever card they have left, they either have to lead to my hand or they have to lead to dummy. So either way, I actually had to take the same tricks I could have just cashed out for. As I said, I didn't expect this to work, but it was a slim chance, so might as well play for it. So that's our set. The the two biggest ones I would say were the 2-heart opening, where there wasn't a lot to say about this other than 1 heart versus 2 hearts. But either way, you're not going to get to a good spot. The hands just mesh very badly, and unfortunately, we went down a lot of tricks. And then the slam hand. This is really the big one. Something to keep in mind, just as a general guideline for these types of situations, when you have a lot of undisclosed strength and partners taken an action which is extremely unknown in strength. So here, 4 hearts over the 3 spade bid. I could have a pretty weak hand worth a lot of hearts, and I just think it's the best bid. I could even have 14, 15 points and just think that my hand is not good enough to do much beyond bidding 4 hearts. Some expert players play conventions here to help with some of these situations that I'm sure the robots don't play. Like, for example, there's a treatment that some people play where 4 clubs here over the 3 spade bid would be treated sort of like almost like a 3 spade, 4 spade type of Q bid, where it's just agreeing hearts and stronger than 4 hearts. That can help with some of these type situations. It would not have helped here. The south hand just simply isn't strong enough to make a bid like that. This is just simply a 4 heart bid. But in more standard methods, that 4 heart bid is so wide ranging. When you have that much extra, like the north hand does, you just got to give partner one more chance. You just can't afford to pass it out. So, unfortunately, we played our grand slam in the game. Okay, well, that's our 5 for today. And thanks, everyone. And hope to see you around at the tables.